Hello, hello. This is Patty Joe. I am trying this again for two reasons. Two. First of all, some whack job just tried to leave me her information because she's running for school board. I was like, if you leave me that information, I would be happy to make sure not to vote for you and tell all my friends. Plus, I totally broke down and cried when I started this video before. So let's go over this gentleman who's going to be testifying. He's our next witness. He is the president slash coach of the little baseball team, Blazer teams. And that would be the group that had Jackson Sparks. And Jackson Sparks was trying to do this and get through what I wanted to say without crying like a big old baby. Like this is that close to me, and it's not. But Jackson Sparks, we know, is one of the people that did not make it after the injuries that he incurred from the monster, he who shall not be named right now. And this is some of the things that Darrell's going to ask is absolutely disgusting, because Jackson Sparks was taken to a hospital, which means, okay, I don't know how much a layperson should know about this. When it's a child, when it's an adult and you find a loved one who's an elderly person, maybe my age or elderly more, and they're found in their homes, say, without breathing and a heartbeat, we could actually, as paramedics, go in and work that all the way through till we know there's no more medical things that can be done, and they could be called right there. I've done it many times where I've called the death after attempting resuscitation. But that does not happen in children. If you're a child, if you're under 18, really, and really even a young adult, I probably would try. Those people would be taken into the hospital. There would be some amount of work done on scene, and then taken to the hospital, and or depending on the circumstances, taken directly while we're doing the work. But doing the work in the ambulance is now actually frowned upon overall. You cannot do adequate compression, so forth. But neither here nor there. Jackson was taken. He would have been taken to the hospital no matter what. No matter what. His injuries included severe head injury that we know, of course, he was then taken off life support. He wasn't really in that way. I believe he was an organ donor. And again, lots of people are organ donors. I totally support those decisions. Either way, you can choose it or not choose it. Some people don't choose it due to religion and all these other things. There's all sorts of beliefs, and you're welcome to those. But just because you're an organ donor does not mean that your organs are viable for donation at your death. So, but they are for him. So probably what would have happened in his case was an honor walk, which is, this is where I totally lose it. It's where the person who's donating the organs, who's no longer viable, living, is walked down the hallway into the surgical suite. That happens with the ventilator there and all of the medications that are keeping their blood pressure up and so forth, and sometimes even things that are pumping their heart, all kinds of equipment. The family goes with them. There's more family on the side. All of the medical work people in the hospital, a lot of times the fire department will come back if they've transported, and that's a thing. Bystanders, everybody who gathered. And believe me, if there's a day or two, there's plenty of time for people to gather. And it's a wonderful thing. It's also really, really emotional. So I'm glad I made it without tears this time, but that's basically what happened. The other thing is he will testify about Tucker Sparks, who is the older brother. He was also very seriously injured. And on top of it, has survivor's guilt because of him being the older brother. He said things that I've heard where he wanted to push his brother out of the way or help his brother in some way and wasn't able to. And I'm sure that he feels good and should never have that in his heart. Should never. So this is going to be a toughie. And Darrell, even to where I got the last time, he's already annoying and terrible. So let's see if I can make it through.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Please have a seat. The first thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record and spell each, please.
Okay. Jeff Rogers, Jeffrogers.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So, do you live in the city of Waukesha?
Yes, I do.
Are you familiar with the program, the Waukesha Blazers Youth Baseball Program?
Yes, I'm.
Overruled.
Yes, I currently serve as the president.
And what is the Blazers Youth Program?
Like a monster in the corner.
We have teams. We have a rookies program, which is ages 5 up to 12. We also have a select baseball program and softball program, and that ranges from ages 7 all the way up through high school.
Is this for boys and girls?
Yes.
And as president, what duties do you have?
Sure. Maintaining the schedule for the year, ensuring that we have indoor facilities for winter workouts, arranging any tournaments, ensuring we have game fields for the year for practices and games, setting the team rosters, running tryouts. There's lots on the plate.
Are you also a coach with the Blazers?
I am.
Okay. So direct your attention to November 21st of last year. Were the Blazers part of the City of Waukesha Christmas Parade?
Yes, we were.
And do you recall the day?
Yes.
Approximately what time did you have to get to the parade to set up?
It was probably about an hour before the parade started.
And was the parade starting at approximately 4 o'clock?
Yes.
What was the weather like?
It was cool, windy, I remember cloudy.
Could you imagine being in charge of all those little kids running around giving out candy in a parade? Exhausting.
Who was all walking?
Just thinking about it.
Blazers that day? I mean, not names, but generally speaking, was it players, coaches?
Sure, it was coaches, players, and some family members.
Did you have a float?
We had a pickup truck with a Christmas tree in the back.
Okay. And was that pickup truck marked with the Blazers?
We had banners on both sides of the truck, yes.
Okay. Do you recall any groups that were in front, or a group that was in front of you or behind you?
From my memory, I remember the extreme dance group in front of us. I don't remember who was in back.
Okay. And were you there, was it just you, or did you have any kids that were involved in the program at that time?
I was there with 3 of my 4 children, one of which was playing on my baseball team.
Okay. And I'm assuming that there were other parents there
Yes.
with their kids? And specifically, were 2 of your kids there, Caden, Cayden, and Riley, Ryle?
Yes.
And which one of those, does either one of those play with the program?
Kaden plays on my team.
Okay, and Riley was there for?
Support.
Okay.
She used to play in the program.
Okay, and then you had a 3rd child there.
Yes.
Do you know Josh Kriener?
Yes, I do.
And what is his involvement with the Blazers?
He was a first-year coach for our 9U.
Okay, and he was also walking?
Yes, he was walking the parade.
And did you have a formation for the parade, or was it just people kind of walking next to the truck, behind the truck?
All over the truck, we were handing out little flyers.
Promoting the Blazers, I'm assuming?
Correct.
Okay. Specifically, do you remember 2 players, Jackson and Tucker Sparks?
I do.
Were they there?
Yes, they were.
And was their dad there?
Yes.
Okay, and they were also walking the parade?
Yes.
Do you recall if they were wearing uniforms?
I believe Jackson was wearing his uniform. I don't remember if Tucker was.
I'm going to show you what's been, let me just make sure it was previously played, but Exhibit 11, and I'm just going to display it in front of the screen in front of you. Yes, it was previously admitted. So I will also play it, publish it to the jury. And let me know when you see it in front of you.
I see it.
Okay. So initially I'm going to, it's a 2-minute and 29-second video. I'm going to have it play and I will let Ms. Gussie know when.
Objection, how long is the video
It's 2
seeking to be
minutes and
played?
29 seconds.
So would that be the entire video?
That would be the entire Exhibit 11.
Nobody was paying attention to him. I swear he just an attention-seeking, hedonistic, toddler, petulant, icky.
I'm going to stop the video at 28 seconds. Did you recognize that as the Blazers, I want to say float or group that was marching the parade?
Yes, I saw myself and all the people walking with me.
Okay, did you see Josh Craner?
I did.
Did you see either one of your kids, Caden or Riley?
I saw Caden and Maya.
Okay, and then did you also see Jackson and Tucker Sparks?
I did see Jackson. I don't recall seeing Tucker.
Okay, let's play it again from the beginning. Pause it. First of all, can you circle yourself on the screen? It's a touch screen. Can you circle yourself? And you said that you saw Caden?
Yep, just previously.
Okay, of course. And how about Jackson?
Yes, I saw Jackson, and I see Tucker now too.
Okay, and can you circle them? The shorter of the two kids, do you know, is that Jackson or Tucker?
That's Jackson.
Okay, so the taller is Tucker.
I believe
presumably.
so.
Okay, and I'm going to back it up approximately 4 seconds to 12 seconds. We've stopped at 16 seconds, and we can clear the screen. And I'm going to keep it paused. Do you see Caden in this frame?
I do.
And can you circle him by where he's standing? Now this was, at some point there was a vehicle that came through the parade, correct?
Correct.
This was before that time period, correct?
Yes.
Okay. At some point, and we can take this video down, did you hear any type of commotion or anything that drew your attention to behind you during the parade route?
Yes, I remember hearing some sort of scream. Couldn't tell if it was part of the parade or not. Turned over my left shoulder to see, I remember a wheel falling over and thinking like, oh no, somebody fell off their bike or somebody got hurt. So I turned back around, and at that point the screams got louder and I saw people running, or heard people running and lots of screaming. So I turned around again, and that's when I saw a red SUV coming at us, and I pulled my daughter Maya out of the way.
At that time, do you recall, you said Maya was next to you?
Yes.
Do you recall where Caden was?
I remember Caden was up to the left of our vehicle. That's somewhere, wasn't sure exactly.
And if you can recall, was the vehicle in the middle of Main Street?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled. You may answer, sir.
He doesn't know what that
Remember,
means.
yes.
And what side were you on? Were you at the back of the vehicle or the side of the vehicle?
I was pretty much directly behind our vehicle, in the middle of the road.
Okay. And Caden was where in relationship to you?
To my left.
Okay. And your daughter, Maya?
Maya was standing right next to me on my left,
And Riley.
and Riley was up somewhere by Caden.
Do you recall where Josh Craner was?
Josh was to my left as well.
And how about Jackson and Tucker Sparks?
I recall them being in front of me. I'm not sure, maybe a little to the left as well.
So when you looked back, you said you heard screaming, you heard yelling and running. Did you hear a horn honking?
I did not.
When you first observed the red SUV, first of all, strike that. Was there a group immediately after the Blazers team in the parade?
Objection. Relevant.
He looks like such a little kid.
Are you talking behind us or in front of us?
Like just-
Behind. Was there someone directly behind you, or was there a gap between you and whoever was behind you? If you recall, when you look back, was there a float right behind you?
I don't remember seeing a float right behind us.
Okay. And people were running. Could you tell where they were running?
From what I remember, running towards me and to the sides of the street.
And when you first saw this, you said a red vehicle.
Yes.
Did you have a more, was it a car, a SUV, a pickup truck?
I remember it being larger than a car. How I described it to other people as an SUV.
And how was it coming at you? Was it on the, it sounds like you were behind the truck. You said Caden was to your left, which would be, and I'm horrible at directions, but that would be the south side of the street. Was it coming on the south side of the street, the middle of the street, or the north side of the street, which would have been to your right?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled, you may answer.
That's not hearsay. God, Darrell. If I am as dim as I am about legal matters, and I can pick up on what hearsay is, pretty much anybody can.
From what I remember, it was middle, and then it moved to the left to go around our truck.
Okay. As it was coming towards you, what did you do?
My first reaction was to grab Maya, and she slipped through my hands the first time, and then luckily I grabbed her the second time and pulled her to the side. Immediately was trying to put her in the back of our vehicle because I didn't know if more cars were coming.
When you say the back of your vehicle, the Blazers vehicle, or did you have a personal vehicle also in the parade?
The Blazers pickup truck.
And then what happened?
Sure. So after I got her up in the truck, I was frantically looking for my kids. I watched the SUV continue driving down the parade route, swerved back to the right after it passed our truck. I was screaming, "Where's Riley?" Caden found me, and I tried to get him in the back of the truck as well. From there, I was yelling at him, asking where Riley, screaming, "Where's Riley?" He didn't know. So I ran around the truck a couple times, and that's when I saw Jackson on the ground and stopped by him to check on him.
So where was Jackson in relationship? I'm assuming that once the red SUV came through, did the parade stop?
Yes.
Where was Jackson in relationship to the Blazers pickup truck?
From what I remember, he was in the front of the truck to the left.
Was there anyone else around him at that time?
His dad, Aaron.
Did you talk to Aaron?
I did.
And what observations did you make of Jackson?
Jackson was motionless on the ground, eyes open, didn't appear to be aware,
Did he appear to be alive?
was unsure.
I don't know if I made this clear this time. I know I spent a little time on it, on the one that I discarded. As a first responder, as a paramedic who would be coming onto a scene, even a mass, but if, let's just say it's just Jackson, it would not matter to me in my medical plan. He's alive until he gets to the hospital. Now, adults' trauma is different from medical. If it's a medical problem with an adult, you find somebody my age or older, like, found them, unresponsive, and they turned out to not have a heartbeat and breathing. They're worked on the scene, and we call them on the scene if they don't respond. Because transporting while you're doing CPR it's actually kind of frowned upon. It's not as effective. We do now have devices that do it for us that are more effective during that. It's not effective to be hanging from the middle bar and pumping on somebody's chest. You're not getting a full pump or push or compression on the chest. It's just, we're not cowboys. We're emergency medical people. That's what we are. We're paramedics, we're EMTs, that's what we are. There are two levels, there's a difference. But with a child, specifically with a trauma, that child is alive and taken to the hospital in our minds, and everything is done. Period, end of story. So, but yes, he could have very easily had an injury that would have been basically fatal at that point.
Later, did you find out that he died as a result of being struck?
I did.
Hearsay.
Overruled. His answer may stand.
He knows.
So
She
when the
didn't
car
ask.
came through, the red SUV, it went to which side of the truck?
The left side.
Okay. And that's where you said Caden was. Did Caden get struck?
Caden told me he did.
What injuries did he have?
Objection, hearsay. Just say told. It's not for sure.
Overruled. This witness may answer based on personal knowledge.
So Caden said he saw the.
Hold on. That would be hearsay.
That would be hearsay.
So I'll sustain the
Thank you.
objection.
That was beautiful. Thank you. The conversation between his son and himself becomes his personal knowledge. But what Caden said about what Caden saw, that would be hearsay. His child would have to come and do that. I don't think they're going to do that. But there you go. There you go, Darrell. There's your definition. How many of us think that Darrell's going to get it? Nobody.
You would rephrase that question.
What injuries did Caden have?
He had bruising on his right elbow.
And do you know if Caden got struck by the red SUV?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
Yes, he did.
Did you see Jackson or Tucker Sparks get struck by the SUV?
Sitting here today, I do not remember that.
Okay. Did you give a statement at some point? I think it was part of a parade survey, if you recall that.
Yes.
That was, I think, created by the Victim Witness Program, sent out by the Victim Witness Program, and then you would have sent it back. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
And was that something that you created?
Yes, those are my words.
Okay. And is it correct that that form says, after that I saw the car drive past us on the left, striking two of our players, Tucker and Jackson Sparks?
Yes.
Objection, hearsay.
Those are his words. Not like what you try to do, saying that the police words are their words. And again, I'm going to point out that trauma is going to block off things that he cannot emotionally handle. His own brain is going to decipher those things and make that memory fade or block that memory, which it looks like it has. I don't know if I'd want to remember seeing that either.
Overruled.
See that? That's hearsay.
Overruled. His answer may stand.
Thank you. I'm assuming that the event was fresh in your mind.
She was so frustrated. Did you see her face? She was so mad. Thank you, she said.
When you gave that statement versus a year later?
Yes, I believe everything in that statement is accurate.
Okay, thank you. And do you know if Jackson Sparks was injured? I'm sorry, Tucker Sparks.
Yes, he was.
Okay. Do you know what injuries he had?
Objection, hearsay.
Do you
Overruled.
know?
I remember the most significant was brain bleed or a head injury.
And did you eventually find your daughter Riley?
I did.
Where was she?
She was across the street. So I had taken my young Caden into the antique shop on the south side of the road. She was across the street in the Civic Theater.
Was she injured as a result of a car striking her?
She was.
And what car struck her?
The red SUV.
Okay. What injuries did she receive?
She had multiple cuts, bruises, scraping on both of her legs. Her knee was pretty badly bruised.
Now, after the car went to the left side of the Blazers truck, striking the kids, did you see the path that it took?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
Yes, I remember it going back to the right side of the road after that.
So after it passed the truck,
Yes,
did it strike the Blazers truck at all?
I don't remember.
So it went to
I feel like we could come up with chants like they do at the Taylor Swift concerts and stuff like that, where when he says hearsay, we all say, "That's not hearsay," and stuff like that. I just
to the right, the
Idiot.
far right side of the road?
You're dumb.
And then did you see it from there?
That's the last memory I have of it.
So do you know approximately how far Jackson was in front of the Blazers truck when you went and you talked to his father, Aaron, who was with Jackson?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Actually, that was kind of a compound question. So Darrell doesn't even know when he has a legitimate thing to
Vehicle
say.
stop.
No, it didn't.
Did you see it stop at any time while you had view of it?
No.
Can you estimate approximately how fast it was going before when you first took notice of the red SUV when you looked back?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
I remember thinking, this is a parade. It's 25-mile-an-hour speed limit here. If I were in my neighborhood and a car was going that fast, I would be yelling at it. So faster than the speed limit.
And I'm assuming when you're in a parade, you're not going, although the speed limit on that road might be 25 miles per hour, you're not going 25 miles per hour. Would that be a correct statement?
Absolutely.
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
It's not hearsay. If you're going to object, say, he's not an expert with how fast parades go. But let's review. If you're going to walk like you're trying to do your exercise, your 30-minute walk, right? You're probably walking 3 to 4 miles per hour. 4 miles in an hour is a pretty good clip. It's a pretty good walk. Parades are probably going 1, maybe 2 miles an hour. I mean, the whole point is so the whole thing moves fairly slowly so that everybody who's standing on each side can see it. So 1 or 2 miles an hour is generous for the speed of a parade. And I even verified this with a friend of mine who lives in Wisconsin. Hey, shout out, you guys. And he does parades and is a drummer and with the drum line that makes the cadence for one of the faster moving groups, which would be a band. So yeah, no, 25 miles an hour, even if Darrell was going the whole speed limit the whole way, doofus, you're going 25 times too fast because you're not even supposed to be there. You're supposed to be going 0 somewhere else.
Nice game.
Now, before you went into the antique store, was there anyone yelling anything about shots being fired?
Yeah, I don't remember who yelled it, but I heard shots were fired and to get inside the nearest building.
And did you go in right away, or were you still looking around the car for Riley?
Right. I didn't have Riley at the time, so I had to make a decision that I had 2 out of my 3 kids and took them into the antique store after that.
Prior to going into the antique store, did you see Jackson again?
I don't remember if it was before or when I came out of the antique store.
Okay. So, did you see Jackson a second time on Main Street?
Yeah.
Hearsay.
Overruled.
Where was that, or where was he?
Yeah, so after I put Kaden and Maya in the antique store, I asked the couple there to watch them because I was going to go find my other daughter. Ran back outside on the main street, and that's when I saw Jackson again. And at that point, I believe a woman was trying to perform CPR on him.
Did you ever see Josh Craner while you were outside?
I remember.
After the vehicle had gone through. I apologize.
No, that's fine. After running back outside, I remember seeing someone near our truck that had a jacket, a brownish jacket on, and at the time I believed it was Josh. I didn't know him well at the time.
And where was he?
He was on the left side of the vehicle, our vehicle.
On the ground, did you say?
Yes, he was laying on the ground.
Okay. And at some point, did you, how did you find Riley?
I received a phone call when I was in the antique store. It was a phone call or a text message from my friend, Ben.
And what did he have Riley?
Yeah, he said he was with her across the street and that her
thank
legs
God.
were injured, but she was okay.
And that's what I was just going to say. As a result, you had indicated that Caden did receive an injury from being struck by the car.
Yes,
Did Riley receive an injury?
yes.
What were her injuries?
She had scrapes, bruises, abrasions up and down her legs.
And that was from the vehicle?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been previously marked and admitted into evidence as Exhibit 15. And I would ask that be published to the jury right away.
Go ahead.
And let me know, sir, when that's up in the screen in front of you.
I see it.
Okay. There's a section. Actually, it's in the middle of the page, probably more on the upper.
Upper right is what I think she's going to say. I'm going to make this larger because, I'm getting old. Tucker, Jackson, Riley, and that's, I guess, the Josh guy that he's saying. Caden, Riley. So two of his kids, a coach, and then the Sparks children. Okay.
Part, it has names: Josh Craner, Riley Rogers, Caden Rogers, Jackson Sparks, and Tucker Sparks. Do you see that?
I do.
And then there's a line on the left side of that diagram that goes down to the map where it leads to a yellow star. Do you see that?
There.
Yes.
Would that be the area in which each of those people were struck by the red SUV?
Objection, hearsay.
Yes, it appears accurate.
Thank you.
Darrell, you are so dumb.
I'm now going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 148. I'm going to have it just shown in front of you first. And I'll have it play for a couple seconds. It's starting at 0.
Dumb.
Sir, do you recognize the frame that it stopped at, which is at 5 seconds?
Yes,
Have you seen this video before?
I have.
And does it accurately depict what occurred on November 21st of last year, shortly before, during, and after the red SUV struck the Blazers?
Yes.
Permission to publish and admit Exhibit 148 into evidence.
Objection is noted. Exhibit 148 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
What grounds?
It's
Sir,
relevant.
it's approximately 3 minutes and
Well,
22
grand.
seconds. I'm going to play that entire video initially, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, can I have the total again?
3 minutes and 22 seconds.
Thank you.
Showing the entire video.
Your objection is noted. It's overruled.
What grounds?
It's relevant.
What grounds?
It's relevant.
Relevant. Go ahead.
God. Can you imagine she wanted to scream at him like that too? Don't worry, Judge, I did it for you. I'm pretty sure none of these people knew what to do. Like, they're all doing something different. Now they're saying the shots get inside. Now everybody's running faster, rushing them into buildings. This lady's still worried about her stuff, but not that worried. Little kids, Jesus.
That is the entire 3 minutes and 22 seconds. Sir, you just gave a testimony with regard to your actions. Did you see yourself in that video doing a lot of the things that you just testified to?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I'm gonna play it one more time, and I'm gonna pause it at certain points if you can just identify where you are and what you're doing, okay? So let's play it from the very beginning at 00. I'm going to pause it right here. Now it looks like there's quite a few people in there walking behind WAUKESHA Blazers truck. Are all those people part of the WAUKESHA Blazers program?
It appears so, yes.
Okay, so either parents, players, or support?
Yes.
And do you see yourself?
I do.
And can you circle where you are? And your daughter?
Maya is right here.
And you see Caden?
Is Caden these guys here?
No, I don't.
And you see Josh Creener in this frame?
No, I don't.
Okay, let's clear
Hold
the
on,
screen.
could you just make a record of where you paused?
Yes, I'm sorry. At 13 seconds, if we can clear the screen and continue on. Pause.
They're not going to show where he's actually hitting, thank God.
Do you know what you were looking back at? It seemed like, as I started saying before, a lot of people were looking behind you. Is that when you heard, you said something about a wheel tipping?
Yeah, I remember the first time I turned back, seeing something tip, whether it was a stroller, a wheelchair, a bike, some sort of tire is in my mind, and hearing screams at that time thinking that somebody got hurt.
Then you said you turned back, face forward, and then something else drew your attention back.
Correct.
And what was that?
The screaming.
Now, do you see Josh Creener in this frame?
I do.
Okay, and can you circle him where he's at?
He was running right there.
And that's at 16 seconds?
Yes, and I was just reminded of that. Thank you. And you saw the video straight through before, correct?
Correct.
And Josh Creener is about to get struck by the car, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so let's play that through. Stop the video. When you saw Josh laying on the ground, Josh Creener, do you know approximately where, I'm sorry, it stopped at 19 seconds. I'm very bad at this. Do you know where Josh Creener was laying approximately?
To the left side of our vehicle, that's about all I remember.
Okay, so he's not shown, did you see two bodies fly forward from the truck?
In the video or
In
when I
this
was
video
there?
right now?
I would have to see it again.
Okay, if we can, we go back to probably 14 seconds. And play it again. From 13 seconds. Stop it. Did you see two bodies flying forward?
Yes.
Do you recall, as you look at this picture, where Jackson was of the two bodies that flew forward?
I believe he was on the left side of the truck as well.
And can you circle him by where He's laying on the ground.
Can you play it one more time, please?
Yes, and that was, I stopped it at 21 seconds. I'm now going back again to 14 seconds and playing it again starting at 14 seconds. I paused, or it was paused at 18 seconds. Did that assist you?
Yeah. Looks like he's laying right up here.
And do you know who the body is that's to the right of Jackson?
I don't, looking at it from here.
And do you know as Jackson and Tucker were marching to the left of the truck as you testified to, were they close together in distance?
Yes, they were close.
If you can keep playing. I'm sorry, and it's starting at 18 seconds. What do you see you doing now?
I picked up Maya and I'm running to check on Jackson.
And if
Over
you-
the top of him right now.
I was just going to say, if you can narrate, and that you said that at approximately 31 seconds, you were over the top of Jackson.
Yes. And now I just grabbed Ella, another one of our members.
You can pause the video. Okay. And what are you doing?
I'm
And
putting-
it's paused at 35 seconds, 55 seconds.
Putting Maya in the back of the truck to keep her safe.
And how about Ella?
Ella, I was bringing her with me too, so I knew where she was.
Okay. At this point, had you seen Caden?
No.
Okay. Continue.
That I'm talking
Pause.
to Caden now.
So at 1 minute and 3 seconds, you're lifting someone up into the pickup truck?
Yes, that's Caden.
Okay. Continue.
And I'm yelling at him, asking where Riley is. And he's telling me he doesn't know.
Oh, God.
I told him to stay there, and I was going to go run and try to find her. As I went to the left of the truck, as I knew she was on that side.
Is that you running down the street?
I saw somebody down in the road, praying it wasn't her. It was not.
I'm going to pause it right now. When you said you saw someone else in the road, did it appear that that person was injured?
Yeah, they were down on the ground with people around them.
You can continue on.
Telling the
Pause.
kids that it'll be okay, and they're safe now with the truck.
And that was paused at 1 minute and 47 seconds. Continue on. At 2 minutes in, had you found Riley yet?
No.
Had to have been the longest 2 minutes of his whole life.
And there I'm pointing out that
Pause.
we need medical attention.
And that was at 2 minutes and 31 seconds. You're pointing out that who needs medical attention?
Jackson.
You can continue on.
At that point, I was just talking to Caden again, asking him if he remembered where Riley was.
That's 2 minutes and 38 seconds.
And I told him to come and help me find her.
Wow.
At this point, people are rushing in the stores as we heard
The gunshots.
shots were fired.
It was at 3 minutes.
Shoot.
So I grabbed Maya and Caden and ran into the nearest open door that I could find.
Pause. And that was at about 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Is that, yes? Did that happen about 3 minutes and 10 seconds into the video?
Yes.
I'm sorry. And that's all I need for the video. And finally, I'm going to show you Exhibit 31. And let me just see if that's been admitted yet. It has not. So I'm going to have it displayed in front of you. I'm not going to have it published until I show you a couple seconds of this to see if you can indicate that this is a true representation of what happened on November 21st.
I see it, and it is.
Okay. Permission to publish it and admit Exhibit 31 into evidence.
He's nervous. Look at him. Good.
27 seconds.
Good. Too bad he's not
Exhibit
nervous for
31 is
anything
received,
other than
permission to
himself.
publish is granted.
And if we can play it. It was played until the end at 27 seconds. Does that accurately depict the path of the vehicle as it was striking the Blazers members?
Yes.
What, no objection?
Nothing further, thank you.
Hearsay?
All right, I'm going to take a mid-morning break at this point, about 15 to 20 minutes. All rise for the jury, please.
You should be nervous. Look at it. Only for himself, though. Look at him. Because he thinks it'll make him look better. He's even trying to see. Nobody cares about you, Darrell. Nobody.
All right, thank you, everyone. We are in recess. Sir, you may step down as well. I'll be back in 20 minutes.
Judicial determination you made about the
No.
jury's
Let's see if he has anything worthwhile to say. I guarantee he doesn't. He just wants this to stop at this point. Absolutely wants it to stop. So he's going to mumble this like it's supposed to, his tone of voice is supposed to make it more credible, I guess. I don't know. What a dip.
judicial determination you made about the jurisdiction?
I thought I was very clear, sir.
Look at him.
Proof be validated.
Your request is denied.
Look at him
Will
with the
you
fake tears.
The record stands, sir.
Is that a judicial determination?
Yes! Everything she does
My ruling was put on the record earlier, sir.
is a judicial determination.
So that is a judicial
Ah. Just keep up with your fake tears, stupid. All rise. Him and his fake tears. Oh, the big sigh. Oh my God. I'm not making it through this one, guys. It's not going to be any kind of subtlety here. But from what I've read in the comments, you're all yelling with me, so I don't want to hear it.
Right.
We haven't had somebody mad at the judge.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated.
Uh,
Mr. Brooks, you may start your questioning of this witness then.
he has no real emotional quote IQ and EQ. There's EQ as well as IQ, emotional and intelligence. We all know his intelligence is, I don't know. I think I'm kind of on the fence on that one. But emotionally, he feels nothing. He is a sociopath. I'm not a psychologist or sociologist, but I think he was built. This was built into him. He says he has no father in one of his in his closing or the sentencing, whatever. His mother is a nightmare as well. She starts the lies way back on the 21st of 2021 too, because she called 911 of WAUKESHA and said he stole the car, and she thinks that it might have been him involved, or probably because he was already calling her saying, get me an Uber, like he's entitled to it. And my son, my younger son who used to get in trouble, he knows this. I used to say, don't even try calling for a ride home, because you're going to need to learn how to walk that far anyway to get to work. I'm not supporting this dipshittery. But
Just a second,
40-year-old man. Just a second, I need to behave in a way that makes me look. Oh my God.
I'm sorry about that. I just needed a second.
I just needed a second. I'm so emotional. Nobody's buying it. The guy behind him. Oh my God, not the Bible. That was... All of this is so calculated. He takes the pen out of... just so he has to pick it up and put it down. Oh my gosh. This is a...
I apologize to the witnesses. A little emotional right now for me. So
For me. It's a little emotional for me. This has something to do with me. Is that hearsay? Can we object?
Do you recall what time you arrived at the parade?
That's already been asked.
I don't remember exactly.
Do you recall how long you intended to stay?
Until
Through
all the
parade,
kids went
Until it
home.
was done.
You testified earlier to seeing some of the video footage that was played. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, that's fair to say.
Do you recall how many times before today you saw the video footage?
This man is angry.
I believe I saw one of the videos once.
And you don't recall seeing any of the other videos?
Maybe clips we were bouncing around.
Everybody had video of what you did, Darrell.
Showing the videos?
The folks at the prosecution table.
That referring to the three prosecutors sitting there right now?
Yes.
All three?
Yes.
you stated in testimony earlier that you did not see the vehicle strike the children that were in front of you. Would that be fair to say?
I said sitting here today, I don't remember that.
You said something to that effect. Would that be fair to say?
No, Darrell. He said he doesn't remember it sitting here today. That's not, he didn't say he never saw it. You're trying to make your own semantics, like the narcissist monster, icky little man that you are. Now that I've answered it the way this guy wants to answer it, let's hear what this guy has to say.
You'd have to be more clear.
You said something to that effect of what you just said.
That's just repeating what you just said. When they say, could you ask it a different way? And he repeats the same question. How many times did he do that? Like a billion. Like a billion times.
That you said today that you do not recall seeing anyone struck ahead of you.
That's correct.
You gonna try to make him into a liar now?
And then you also stated that you did see who was struck ahead of you.
When he reported it.
Is that a question?
Would that be fair to say?
No.
And
That's not fair. What you're asking is twisted and stupid. Okay, so apparently, now even I have picked all this up now. He referred to a survey that the victims assistance people sent out to the people in the parade. That could have probably been spectators, people involved, people who were injured, people who were not injured, all sorts of people. Probably everybody in town got this thing. And it was a survey that he then answered and said he did see Jackson and Tucker Sparks get hit. The fact that he doesn't remember it today just speaks to the way the brain deals with trauma. I don't know if I could place into memory a child I know getting struck and killed basically by a vehicle driven by a monster called Darrell Brooks. Darrell Brooks is a name that I've heard before. We have a lady, had a lady with a family of 5 or 7 kids. At least 5 of them were also in this house fire. But her husband, and at least 5 of her 7 children were killed in a house fire that was from a Molotov cocktail that was thrown into her home because she called the police on a drug dealer that was selling drugs on the corner where she lived. And they tried to burn her house down before, and he failed. He then burns it down. They all were, I think there was, I worked for the fire department, not way back then, but way back then, at least one of the kids was, put out the window, and the husband, I think, went out the window, one of the upper windows. I mean, it was horrifying. This whole thing was horrifying. And that guy's name was Darrell Brooks. Not related, but still.
In relation to what?
In relation to someone being struck in front of you
When I was there, or the video? What are you talking about?
at any time when you was there.
When I wrote my statement, I wrote what I remembered at that time.
Thank you.
Would it be fair to say that as you sit here today that anything about your statement may have changed?
No.
Nothing has changed.
So your testimony here today would be accurate to what you reported?
No. It's
Everything
accurate.
I said has been accurate.
So now Darrell is trying to make this guy into a liar. Okay, so either you were lying then or you're lying now, but he can't say that. He doesn't have the guts to say it. Okay, that's what he's saying though. He's saying either you were lying then or you're lying now. And the fact of the matter is he wasn't lying then. And he knows he was truthful then. And he knows he's being truthful now. He could very easily have looked at that thing and said, you know what, I do remember saying that. Because I said it. But he, this guy's even more honest than honest. Darrell would know honesty if it ran up and bit him in the butt. Smacked him in the head. Smacked the rest of that hair off his head.
Do you recall saying
With the little horns.
interview with the DIC that your 11-year-old son and 9-year-old daughter suffered minor injuries in the event?
I remember saying they were injured.
Do you recall saying that the injuries were minor?
No. Again, that's somebody's
Not
summary.
witness to the statement.
Do you have a copy of that?
Yes, right here.
Is it his statement or a summary?
It's not his statement. It is a statement from DCI. An
DCI.
agent from DCI.
Not
in which
DIC.
The DCI agent spoke with Mr. Rogers and wrote down what he believed was said to him. It was not signed by Mr. Rogers. It was not reviewed by Mr. Rogers. Therefore, I would object to this being characterized as this witness's statement.
Grounds.
If he would like to call the DCI agent, then he may do so.
Grounds.
Right, I'm gonna sustain the objection as to the form of the question.
you.
Rephrase, if you're able.
That's one thing that she does that does bug me. There was somebody who commented that, she was being too soft on Darrell. And in a way she is, and I kind of get it, that she's got to make sure it not only is fair, but it appears fair. But she keeps saying, as to the form of the question, as kind of a cop-out. No, it's sustained because his question is based on BS, okay? And she can't just say it's sustained because you can't attribute that language to this person because it's not that person who said it. It's not so. I don't know.
Do you recall stating to whomever interviewed you from the DCI that the injuries were minor?
He had already asked that.
Any reason why they would report that you?
How
said
would
that?
he know?
I don't know. You'd have to ask them.
Thank you. Isn't that what everybody just told him? But he repeats the whole line of
Anybody would
questioning again.
believe that that's what you said?
How would he know?
Grounds.
Relevance.
Grounds.
No, speculation. Yeah, thank you.
Sustained.
Finally. Now he won't understand what speculation means. Go ahead, Darrell. Try to figure it out.
Do you remember giving a prepared statement at 10:45 a.m. on 11/22 of 2021?
I do.
Do you recall the gist of what you?
The gist?
Can you be more specific?
Yeah.
Specifically, that you heard commotion, turned around to see a stroller or something fall over about a block and a half behind us.
Yes,
You recall making that statement?
I do.
About how many people would you estimate was at the parade that day?
He's going to say, why does he think? And again, I'm going to point out that our vision is not 100% of what we see. There are spaces where our retina doesn't have rods and cones, where we actually have specific blind spots. And our brain, because the blind spot from this eye is not going to be the same as from this eye, we're going to be able to fill it in. So as he's going through this extremely traumatic experience, he sees something flying through the air. He thinks it looks like a stroller. This is not going to make him a liar, stupid.
I would
So
guess to the
s-
thousands.
So stupid.
And you were able to see something fall over from a block and a half away
Yes.
amidst thousands of people.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm angry for him. Are you?
And you don't recall what that was that you saw.
No.
Any reason as to why you would name what you saw fall if you don't recall it?
I described it.
So you did see something fall.
Objection, ask and answer.
Grounds.
Asked and answered, sustained.
Sustained.
Do you recall what the item was?
Objection.
Grounds.
Asked and answered.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Thank you. This guy back here, this deputy, is just watching Darrell's hairline recede into these horn like Ugh.
Do you recall about what time you heard that shots were fired?
After watching the video, it's about 3 minutes, 3 minutes after the red SUV drove by us.
Do you recall the day of the incident? Not the video.
I remember it was after the vehicle drove by us.
Did you hear the shots?
No,
Do you
Nobody
remember who that
cares.
was reported by?
I don't.
Nobody cares, Darrell. We all wish the guy would have hit you.
What did you do after you heard that shots were fired?
Ran into the building.
I looked for all of my children again and made the decision to take 2 of them into the antique store.
About how long did it take you to look for everybody before you went into the antique store?
Before or after the shots fired comment?
After the shots fired was out.
I think I did another lap around the car and then around our Blazers truck and then grabbed my kids and left.
Were you able to retrieve everyone at that time?
No,
You
He's
recall who
angry.
was missing?
Riley was missing.
That made me angry.
Did you leave the antique shop anytime after you had gathered your loved ones into the antique shop?
Yes,
About how long before you left the antique shop?
I don't remember.
Do you remember what you did when you left the antique shop?
I remember at some point seeing Jackson again on the ground.
Did you continue looking for the loved one that you missed before you gathered the other ones into the antique shop?
To the best of my recollection.
You don't recall for sure?
It was pretty chaotic. I was looking constantly for my missing daughter.
Did you end up finding her?
I did not find her, no.
And who is Ben White?
He was another coach with the Blazers and a friend.
Was he with you in the antique shop?
No,
So at some point you got separated. Would that be fair to say?
separated from who?
Separated from Ben.
B.
We were all separated as soon as the car drove by.
Any idea where he may have gone at that time?
No.
You remember talking to him after you had gathered everybody in the antique shop?
I remember at some point he reached out. I don't remember if it was text or phone call. Yes.
Did he say if he was injured in any way?
I don't remember.
Were you injured in any way?
No physical injuries.
Good one. Darrell doesn't understand that.
Was it pretty windy that day, from your recollection?
From what I remember, there was a pretty good breeze, yes.
Pretty cold?
It was cool.
He's angry.
Loud.
Oh.
Normal parade sounds.
Would that be characterized as loud?
I guess it depends who's... It would be subjective to the person there.
Would you say it was loud?
Not overly loud.
He's not giving
So
into
you
the
yourself were
semantics.
able to hear pretty good over a parade with thousands of people.
He's
I would say
trying,
so, yes.
but Darrell is really trying to get this guy to submit to his semantics. That is a narcissistic behavior, and this guy is not doing it. Good going. Jeez, Darrell. So evil.
You had one of your daughters, Maya, with you that day. Would that be fair to say?
That's fair to say.
Was she injured in the event?
I threw her to the ground to get her out of the way, so she had some scrapes.
And would that result from you throwing her to the ground?
I don't know.
He's going to try to make this guy the bad guy. You
Did she
can't.
say that she had been injured in any way?
No.
Do you recall if anyone else besides your children who were injured?
I remember lots of people who were injured.
Do you recall
I just answered that.
specifically? You remember who besides your children?
You want me to list all of the names that were injured?
Just rough estimate that you recall,
That I recall, 10 to 15 people that I saw.
that you actually observed.
Yes.
Did you render any assistance to any of those people?
No.
Any reason why not?
He's going to make her really angry in a minute. Not even when all of the resources get there would everybody stop at each person in that incident. Everybody's going to have a different job. And in this part of it, all of the people were involved. Some of them were involved in doing CPR on Jackson. Some of them may have been involved in helping this guy find the child that was separated from him. Some of them may have been, some of the other coaches, the ones that weren't hit and run over by Darrell, may have been involved in collecting the other Blazers, or maybe some of the other kids. Some of the spectators involved may have been collecting their own family. Maybe that one lady was pushing 2 strollers, had at least one kid, if not her stuff in one stroller and a child in the other one. When they said shots fired, she goes into the building with just the one stroller that obviously has her child in it. Small children, they're not going to stop and render aid. They've got their hands full with the task at hand. Let me give you an example. When you go by a large fire, if you have ever seen a large building on fire, there are people standing next to the engines. Engines have the whole pump operation deal on it. And there's the driver of the engine is the pump operator. They operate the pump. They're the ones delivering the water. There's chiefs. They've got the white helmets on. There's usually one standing in front of the building and one standing behind the building. The EMS, we stand out of the way, but close by with equipment in case either a firefighter or an injured person comes out of the burning building. But we don't run up to the building. We're waiting for that to happen. Okay. Then there's actually other trucks and other people, and then there's people inside the building. There's people outside with perhaps hoses or tools. But there's an entire crew. There's a whole crew, minimally one, sometimes more, depending on the size of the incident. But there's an entire crew of firemen, firewomen, fire people, firefighters, who literally, their job is to stand there and wait till something happens and they need more resources inside. Their job is not to put on their gear and get all tired and hot inside of the building too. Their job is not to run around doing other things. Sometimes they do. Their job is not to render anything, any kind of aid to anybody, although sometimes they do, are able to do that. Their job is to stand there and wait until a mayday is called or a crew needs to be replaced because they've run out of there's actually a whole truck full of people that just deal with the air in the tanks. They don't go in either. So to say that he didn't render aid, to say that, imply that that means he wasn't doing something, he was responsible for not only his kids but others, and there's one of his that's missing. He saw somebody performing CPR on Jackson. Somebody was already doing that. So he can move on and find the missing child to see if there's, oh, God. Not everybody has to stop and do everything, Darrell. You're stupid. But there you go. That's how it works. Yes, there's whole crews of people whose job it is just to stand there and wait. Because you want a fresh crew going in, not a tired crew going in. Ugh.
My daughter was missing.
Thank you.
So it'd be fair to say at that moment your concern was your daughter that you didn't retrieve to go into the antique shop.
My concern was for everyone that was just struck by the vehicle.
Unlike you, Darrell, whose concern was just you.
Was missing, right?
I can't with you, Darrell. He's not going to submit to your semantics, to your word gymnastics, to your rationalization of your behavior this day. The only person who's not worried about the right thing is you, Darrell.
I was concerned about her missing, yes.
Don't break down, dude. Don't break down on me now.
Did you file any reports other than just interview?
Realizes.
Like an injury report of any kind?
Just what you had in front of you that you were reading from. That was my statement.
No. Did you
No.
file any injury
Claims.
reports or
Claims is what you're going after, stupid.
grounds?
Sustained as to the form of the question, sir. Please rephrase.
What I'm asking is, usually if there's an injury, you will file a complaint. To the best of your recollection, did you file any complaint from the incident?
I wouldn't consider it a complaint. I filed some paperwork saying that my children were injured, yes.
Do you recall if that was a complaint?
I don't know.
Because nobody thinks like you, stupid. And you don't even think like a
Claim in any
soft set.
sort of way.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Do you recall what the claim was?
It was with the Victim Assistance Program.
And what does that consist of? What,
Is Darrell actually trying to imply that these people profited off of his crime against them? Is he actually trying to imply that trying to recover medical bill costs was something that they did that was a benefit to them? So what, you helped them by running them over?
what are their resources in pursuant to the complaint that you filed or claim that you filed, right?
Can you rephrase?
He's going to say the same thing.
What would be their assistance
Okay.
and to help you with your claim that you were filing?
It was to help with any medical bills that arose out of this situation.
So it would be fair to say that you had a financial interest in this incident.
He just did it. He just did it. He actually implies that they made some sort of financial benefit. No, Darrell, they wouldn't have had these bills had you not run over his children. Carelessly, recklessly, selfishly, hedonistically run over these children, trying to get away from the scene of your last crime, because you are nothing but a troll that stomped all over Wisconsin and other states too, quite frankly, committing crimes because you just thought you could. And I don't even believe he does the solve sit thing right, because he actually answered these people. He gave his identification. It wasn't until the trial that he's come up with all of this nonsense.
Mischaracterizes the
Thank you.
testimony.
Grounds.
Who cares what he asked? I don't even
I
remember.
believe it's relevant to the fact that
Relevant.
bills were needed
Oh,
to
yeah.
be paid.
There you go.
It's
bills.
relevant.
Yeah, they needed to be paid because you ran them over.
I was looking to get the medical bills covered, yes.
Because normal people can't afford
So
erroneous
would that be
medical
fair to
bills.
say that you had a financial interest?
No.
I would say sitting here today, I didn't care if it got approved or not. I was trying to get assistance for the medical bills.
So if it had gotten approved, would you have been able to do it yourself, or would you have seek to do it yourself? Grounds.
Yeah.
Sustained
you have
question
paid-
is vague.
And stupid.
Would you have seeking? Would you have paid the medical bills yourself,
Yes,
regardless to price?
I generally pay my bills.
And specifically that matter, not the rest of your bills. Specifically that matter.
Objection's relevant.
Grounds.
Sustained. Move on, Mr. Brooks.
Would you consider yourself an injured party in this case?
No,
Were you aware that you might be called to testify in this case?
eventually, yes.
Did you seek to testify in this case?
No,
So disgusting.
May I ask why you agreed to testify if you didn't seek to?
Relevant.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Nobody thinks it's a choice, but a subpoena is a choice. Now, there are very large consequences if you choose to ignore or defy a subpoena. So for a layperson like this, if he gets a subpoena from either side, you go in and testify. If you don't, the court can issue a warrant, a bench warrant for your arrest is generally, and I don't really understand that. From my understanding, if you get stopped or you have another legal problem or you try to register your car or something like that, you can be arrested because you didn't testify. So, yes, it's a choice. And most people choose not to have, like, like the risk of being arrested. So they don't see it really as a choice. They see it as, I got a subpoena, I have to go in. There you go. Did I seek? Yes, everybody's against you, Darrell. Ugh, so stupid.
Do you recall who informed you via subpoena to testify?
I received a subpoena from the DA's office, yes.
You did?
Yes.
Yeah, you did?
Sorry, I
Stupid.
didn't hear that.
I didn't hear it. I was gonna drill you down on that one, cause I'm hard. I can't
Are you
wait.
aware of the plaintiff in this case?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained.
I'm stopping him a lot because he's got meaningless drivel to say. There's obviously prisons in any jurisdiction, and we as EMS would go into these prisons all the time. The amount of gang activity in prisons is absolutely ridiculous. I cannot wait till these people in this prison find out that Darrell thought he was so hard. They're not having it because he's just that dumb. Darrell's going to be alone for 23 hours a day for like the whole rest of his life.
Have you read a complaint pursuant to this case at any time?
Not that I remember, no.
Do you understand that for charges to be issued that it has to be a claim, therefore it has to be a plaintiff?
Objection.
Grounds.
That's not.
Okay, so first of all, the
Grounds.
grounds are relevancy. It's not relevant. That would be the
You
grounds.
also have to state the grounds.
Hold on, let her get her position out, Mr. Brooks.
And it mischaracterizes the former testimony.
It does
Sustained
not.
as to both grounds. Under 90611, move on, please.
She was
So you're not
pissed.
sure if there's a plaintiff.
Oh,
Sustained.
he said grounds before she even. After she said relevance, and before anybody grounds, coffee
Have
grounds,
you ever had any interaction with the plaintiff?
NT interaction.
Grounds.
Oh my god.
Sustained.
I'm not the only one pissed off, right? The
Are
Basie,
you
is that her
aware who
name?
brought
She's
charges in this matter? Grounds.
Sustained.
If you're not sure of a complaint, how can you be sure of the charges in this case?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained. Mr. Brooks, under 90611, please move on to a new topic, or your cross-examination will be shortened. Cut off.
shortened. I like that. Shortened.
Your Honor, with all due respect, that's every question that I'm asking is relevant. It pertains to the plaintiff in this matter that seems to be nowhere
Mr. Brooks,
found.
you're making a legal argument. We'll take that up outside the presence of the jury. Move on.
I believe the jury deserves to know who the plaintiff is in this matter. That's very relevant to the case. How can they rule on something when they don't
Mr.
even know
Brooks?
who the plaintiff is?
Please, move on. Next question, or I will turn it back over to the state for redirect.
Can you recall if you saw the driver of the vehicle?
I don't remember seeing the driver.
Were you able to catch a glimpse of the license plates?
License plates.
Do you recall if the vehicle had any tinted windows?
I don't remember.
About how far from the vehicle were you when it passed you?
From the red SUV?
About how far from the vehicle were you when it passed you?
Can you
What
tell me
vehicle?
which vehicle you're talking about?
How far from the vehicle
The vehicle.
were you when it passed you? The vehicle that went around.
Drove through the parade killing people.
The red.
Ask the defendant to be more clear as to what vehicle and when it went around, like at the beginning of the parade, before it struck his kids.
I was just clear. I said the vehicle that went around his blazer.
Sustained as to the form of the question. Please rephrase.
The vehicle that you observed, well, rather I'll say the vehicle that you observed approaching.
He can't ask the question. Yes, he cannot ask this question. Look at the liar lines on his forehead. He can't ask the questions because he can't say the vehicle that hit all those people. That's what he needs to say.
About how far from it were you when it passed you?
From it were you. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right, is he saying the red SUV that this witness has described as that red SUV was approaching him, or some other vehicle?
Sustained as to the form of the question.
Well, I thought he was clear when he said that there
You
was
have to
only
be clear
one
with your
vehicle.
question, Mr. Brooks.
Excuse me, Your Honor?
You have to be clear with your question. It's
Well,
vague.
he
As
said
to
it
the
was only
word
one-
vehicle, you need to be clear which vehicle you're questioning the witness
The
about.
vehicle that was approaching, that he said
At
was
what
approaching.
point in time, what color is the vehicle, something like that, sir.
The vehicle that you observed strike anyone. How close were you to that vehicle when it passed you?
The red SUV was about 10 feet probably from me.
And you didn't see the driver?
No,
correct?
Correct.
Did you see anyone else in the vehicle?
no.
I did not look in the vehicle.
Would that be a no?
That's a no.
Thank you.
He went ahead and said it.
Would it be fair to say that 10 feet from a vehicle is pretty close?
Subjective.
What would you say? Would you say that's pretty close?
It depends what you're talking about.
Would you say that 10 feet is pretty close to a vehicle?
Depends. If they're driving, yes.
He keeps repeating the same question without making any
Would it be fair to
clarification.
say that that's close enough to be able to see who was driving?
It depends
No.
on many other factors.
This guy's not going to fall in for this. He's complicated, sure. They're just letting him answer the question the way he answers it.
Eyesight, windows up, down. If
Speed,
they're looking at the vehicle.
where they're looking, where he was standing, where he was facing. I want them to go back over to the prosecution
I'm assuming It
table.
would be fair to say that you were definitely looking at the vehicle, correct? Would that be fair to say?
When?
When
This guy's relentless. I like him.
it was approaching and when it passed?
Yes.
I want him to go back to the prosecution table, and the reason why is, did you see how they were all sitting back and just kind of sitting there? That is the sign of a true professional. One of the things that I used to do when I was a paramedic before I worked street side was, or first responding, was I did what is considered critical care, which is, let's say you're taken to a hospital and I don't know if any of you have had yourself or anybody else taken to a hospital, and then they had to move hospitals because that hospital didn't have the services they needed. Let's say they had a heart attack and they didn't have a full cardiac team, or the heart attack was too complicated, or they had a stroke and the stroke was too complicated and they needed a neurosurgeon and there was no neurosurgeon there. So those patients who are very critically ill have to be taken out of the hospital and moved to another hospital safely. And that level of care is actually higher than a street level of care in a lot of ways, specifically medically, because of the different things. They could be on more drugs. The illness has had time to advance. Sometimes I would take people into the hospital and within an hour they had a tube down their throat for a breathing machine. But, that could have been already in place for several days before we moved them. So they could be a lot sicker than they were initially. And what I used to say is I took people as I got them. They may have been missing lots of different treatments, or drug may have been missing from their treatment or something like that. I assessed it. If I wanted to add something and I needed to call a medical director or something, I did that. I didn't make criticisms based on what that hospital had done. They had done what they did. And I was simply getting them ready to move them safely to another hospital for whatever reason. So that's what these people were doing. They were like sitting there just letting this guy answer the question, taking him where he is, meeting him where he is. And they do that with every single one of their witnesses, even the ones that aren't quite as smart as this guy. This guy's pretty sharp.
Any reason why you would not try to identify the driver?
Because my children were about to be struck.
Any reason why you would not try to see if you can catch a license plate number?
License plate? Because there's no such thing as a license plate?
Because people had just been hit.
Some people are whole picture people and some people are detail people. He's a whole picture person. He wants the big chunks. He wants the big, large pieces.
So it would be fair to say because of what you was observing.
What you was observing, I'm so hard.
That would be the reason why you didn't try to get a description of the driver or the license plate.
License plate.
My priority at the time was not identifying the driver.
Thank you.
No further questions.
Thank God.
Any redirect?
Just briefly, Your Honor. Sir, you had indicated that you submitted a claim to the Victim Witness Program for medical bills. Is that correct?
Correct.
Were those the medical bills for Caden and Riley that were incurred as a result of the red SUV hitting both of those children?
Yes.
Really?
Overruled. His answer was yeah.
And it was yes?
Yes. Sure.
Thank you. No further questions, thank you.
That's it. See?
Thank you. You may step down.
Darrell. Ugh. Lord. Are we taking another break? Please say we're taking a lunch break or something.
All right, you may call your next witness.
Okay. They're going to call another witness, so I'm going to break this one off here because hopefully next time I'll be a lot more subdued. Darrell is trying my patience. An hour and 40 minutes of this nightmare. Lord, that's long. All right, well, if you stuck with me, thank you so much. Like, comment, and subscribe if you wish. Share. I love the comments. Love you all. We'll get through this. Another witness in a few minutes. Maybe I'll do another. I don't know. I might need a break. Later.